this video we're going to take a look at one of the fundamental commands of the SQL language, and that's the select command. The select command is what you use to select information and show it back to the screen of what you're looking for out of a relational database. The select command is standard amongst all the different relational databases that are out there. This example obviously is geared towards Oracle, so we're going to look at the standard select command, and then in the intermediate and advanced videos that go along with the select command, we're going to look at some Oracle specific things that allows you to do some really incredibly creative things with the select command. But this beginner video is really geared towards people who haven't worked with relational databases and are trying to understand the fundamentals of how to go out there and get information outside of a database. So the select command is one of the fundamental ones that you'll use on a regular basis to get information out of a database, and it's something that everybody that works with a relational database is going to be expected to know. The simplest form of a select statement looks something like this. Select star from AMP. That's just about the simplest command that you can have out there for the select statement. And one of the things that really makes the SQL language unique is the fact that we don't tell the database that we're talking to, whether it's a MySQL database or an Oracle database or a DB2 database, we don't tell the database how to go out there and find the information. What we're basically doing inside of our select statement is we're describing the data that we'd like the engine to return to us. The engine then has the ability to go out there and optimize the query any way possible. So when we're talking about really large databases, there's a whole bunch of really creative things to do that can be done to optimize the response time with a database. And we're going to look at those in some of the advanced videos that I'm going to create. But for now, just understand that SQL is really unique in the sense that, in a traditional programming language, when we're querying some external source to get data, what do we have to do? And this is going to be, pseudocode. This isn't real code. What is it we do? Well, we set up a loop, and we read a record. And does the record match what we're looking for? If it doesn't, what do? We loop back here, we read the next record, we go through and we keep reading. Finally, we find the information that we're looking for, we break out of the loop, and then we continue on with our processing, whatever it is that we're looking for. SQL really isn't like that. In SQL, we're basically describing the information that we're looking for. We say to the engine, hey, this is what we're looking for, and you figure out the best way to find that information, whether it's going through indexes, whether it's going through partitions. There's a lot of really sophisticated things that we can put out there that can optimize the way we have our database set up. So what does this statement actually do right here? It's not that scary looking, and you can probably figure it out even if you don't know anything with SQL code. What we're saying is select star, which means select all of the columns from the employee table. This doesn't necessarily have to be a table. It could be a view. It could be a couple of other things inside of our database. But for now, let's just assume that we have this table called employee. And what this statement does is it says bring back everything. Bring back all of the columns. And I'm not going to limit any of the information there. I'm saying bring back everything. So if there's 1,000,000 rows, this query is going to return 1,000,000 rows. In other videos, we're going to see there's really creative things that we can do with the select statement. But for now, understand that one of the things that we usually want to do is we want to limit the information coming back. How do we limit the information coming back? Well, we limit the information coming back through something called a where clause. And a where clause is something that we stick on the end of the select statement that says, okay, limit the information. I don't want to see everything. I want to limit it to a certain piece. So I'm going to clear this, and then I'm going to draw another select statement that we're going to go through and actually limit the information that's coming back. So I'm going to set it up just like it was before. I'm going to say select star, which means select all of the rows from my employee table. But instead of ending it with a semicolon here, which terminates the statement, I'm going to put a where clause here at the end. And I'm going to have some criteria. The criteria is going to limit the information that comes back. So if, let's say, I just want to see all the employees that live in the state of Colorado. So I can do something like state equals CO. This where clause then limits the information that's coming back. I'm not going to bring back all of the rows, which, like I said, might be a million rows inside my employee table. It's going to limit it. It's only going to say, hey, find everything where the state is equal to Colorado and bring that information back. I'm going to hop into SQL Developer now. And we're going to take a look at looking at some SQL statements. So if I look at my tables here that I have defined, and this SQL Developer is a tool that Oracle provides free for you. If I take a look at all of the different tables here, wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to limit it to just my HR table. So if I go to Other Users, I'm going to scroll down to HR. I'm going to look at my tables, and all of these tables are pretty small. There's not really a lot of information here, but let's say I'm going to look at my employees table, and if I click on Data, as soon as this comes back, it's going to bring back the information and show me all of the different data pieces that are out there. So again, this table is not very big. There's how many rows? 107 rows altogether. But that's not always going to be the case. A lot of times you'll be querying information that has from tables that has millions and millions of rows, and you're going to have to limit the information to get back just what you're looking for. So what's a criteria that we can look at? Well, let's see. We can look at name, employee ID. How about something like job ID? So we have this thing here called HR_REP, so HR rep. So let's say I just want to see all of the employees in this particular table where the job ID is equal to HR rep. And we've seen an example of the SQL statement, so it should be pretty easy to write. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say select star from HR employees. And a common thing that a lot of developers will do is they'll put the select, the from, and the where on the different rows. So select star from HR employees. You can put this all on one row if you want. But in this particular example, we're going to look at job ID is equal to HR rep. One thing to notice is that the schemas and the table names and the column names are not case sensitive. I can have this in lowercase, I can mix these up, Oracle can figure out. But when I'm looking for an exact string inside my database, it is case sensitive, and I have to say I just want to see these inside of a single quote. So this is the command that I'm going to use to just pull back the employees with the job ID is equal to HR rep. So I execute that guy, he goes out there and doesn't like something in there. Oh, because I didn't run this as a script, I just ran this as a line. So you have to be careful where this run command just runs the statement here. So they tried to run where job ID equals HR rep, it doesn't understand that. If I want to run this whole statement, I got to run this as a script. So it goes out there, runs all this information, still coming back with an unknown command. So what is the problem here? Didn't put a semicolon at the end. I think that might be the problem. So let's try this again. And it's saying that the employees doesn't exist because I spelled employees wrong. So let's put an EES there and we'll get this running eventually. So there's our information. So one employee came back, Susan Marvis. She's the only one that's in the HR rep. And we can take a look at the data and say, is that really true? It certainly looks true. I don't see anybody else out there that has that. Now we know we have a whole bunch of people who are IT programmers. So let's change this around and say, you know what, I want this to be IT PROG. And run them again, and we can see here's all of the employees that are in the IT programming department. And again, this is case sensitive, so if I were to put lowercase g there, same thing comes back with absolutely nothing. But I can mix and match the column names, the schema names, the actual table names. I could make this ID, I could make this Y with, mix and match the case, and it'll still find the information for me. So you can see how it still came back with all of these different things. So that's a real simple explanation of how the select statement works. Again, we're going to take a look at some of the really cool advanced features of the select statement in the intermediate and advanced videos. But for now, that should give you a pretty good indication of how the select statement works inside of Oracle.